on Moonshine in the Trunk. My favorite song on Moonshine in the Trunk is Shattered Glass. It's a song that I wrote very quickly. It's meant to be sort of an inspiring take on encouragement for a woman to achieve great things in this world. And I wrote it kind of thinking about my wife and her career. You know, and as you watch modern society and you see people as they achieve great things, I think of somebody like Ellen DeGeneres, who is the embodiment of that. Somebody who, against all odds, sort of became the most well-liked, most powerful person in Hollywood. And I think that it's a song that is a man, the ultimate pat on the back, I think, a man saying, I'll sit here, you drive. And it's meant to really be a love song that way, and it still chokes me up to sing it. I can't imagine if I had a daughter what that song would mean to me, but that really is kind of how I wrote it, channeling what it would be like to have a little girl. So next, Jeremy from Singapore. If being a country music artist wasn't your career, what do you think you'd be doing? Well, Jeremy, I would be a spy. I would work for the CIA, because for me, the idea of, I like spy movies, I like James Bond films, and you know, anything like that that's sort of top secret. That would be a fun, exciting career, I think. Probably, I have no real clue, honestly, probably what it would really be like, but in my mind, I would be very, very cool. I would always wear a tuxedo. I would drive fancy, like, you know, fancy exotic sports cars, and travel the globe, saving the world. Lenny from St. Marie. What song was the most fun to write on Moonshine in the Trunk? Most fun to write song on here was probably a song called High Life, because it's just a wacky story of a family that comes into money when the grandpa dies, and then gets a taste for that and goes further and sees the opportunity when they basically, the mom of the family slips on the ice outside Chick-fil-A, and they sue Chick-fil-A, and then they sue Carrie Underwood, and we laughed all the way through the writing process of that song. So for me, I think it was truly as fun as you could probably ever expect to have writing. Sonny from Anderson. Where do you get your best ideas from for lyrics? Well, the best ideas for lyrics in country music are things you would say. Something that's clever, but at the same time it sounds like something you would actually say. That's a big part of what you do in country music, I think, is that we're sort of the format of music that represents normal everyday life. And I've always said, if you wouldn't say it, you shouldn't sing it in country music. If it wouldn't come out of your mouth that way, if that's not the sentence you would say, then you should sing it some other way, because it'll sound funny. Madeline from Dover. Which song of yours best describes you in a nutshell? Which song describes me in a nutshell? It depends. It depends on what... I'm a very complicated person in some ways. A song like Anything Like Me is a really good description of me, which talks about my hopes and dreams in becoming a father for my son. But I think probably the best one would be Letter to Me, which is a song that kind of talks to my younger self. And that captures who I am pretty well. If you could duet with one person in the world, who would you choose? One person. I would go with Carrie Underwood. I frequently collaborate with her. We've obviously done several songs together and host the CMAs every year, and that's still my favorite duet partner. For me, you know, it's a great match. I think people like hearing that. What song are you most excited about on the new album? I'm not sure. I'm excited about the album. I don't really have one in particular that I'm most excited about. I feel like they each have their place. They each sort of scratch a different itch. You got some fast ones that are rocking, you've got a few that are funny, you got a couple that are really important, I think, in terms of what they say as far as a large theme, such as American Flag on the Moon and Shattered Glass and Perfect Storm, and these songs that are heavier, and then you have gospel song in there. I can't pick just one. So just get the whole thing. Anyway, from country fairs to the large arenas, is it becoming harder for you to stay connected to your audience? Asks Mark from Corning, New York. No, Mark, I don't think so. I think that it's becoming easier to connect because the more I get to know this audience, the more I get to see them, the more I travel and see the places they live and the people that come to see me, I feel like I get a better understanding as opposed to the limited understanding I had in growing up in West Virginia of, I was in a bubble. It was the world that I lived in and I could only write about that. Whereas now, I think the more you see, the more you experience, the better you get as a writer. Why did you call your album Moonshine in the Trunk? Jordan from Hampton. Well, Jordan, it sort of refers to Prohibition back when they were running moonshine in these fast muscle cars. And I kind of think that this album feels a little bit like that. It feels like a rockin' good time at all costs. It's like things aren't going great, but hey, it's Friday night and we're gonna drive like there's moonshine in the trunk. And back in the days of Prohibition, they were told they couldn't drink alcohol and it didn't stop them. They just found creative ways around it. And now in today's society, it's sort of got its own set of obstacles and problems, and instead we're finding ways around it to have a good time, and that's what this record is. Do you have a favorite flavor of moonshine, or do you not ever drink that? Christina from Brooklyn. I would say that I think basic moonshine. I mean, there's the flavored stuff. There's peach and there's apple pie and all that, but I think that really good basic moonshine is an American art form and something that is sort of to be appreciated as is. Let's see, Sharon from Florida. I was just wondering why you don't have any tattoos. I don't have any I've just never had the desire to get a tattoo. I don't know. Maybe that makes me a wimp, but no desire for that at this point. Cody from Orange County. My good friend is getting married in the fall, and all the groomsmen are thinking of performing Death of a Single Man at the wedding. What do you think? I think that is amazing, and I want to see a video of that, and I want you to send me that, and I will tweet it and share it with the world. That to me would be the ultimate wedding song. Donna from Chelmsford. Which music video that you've done has been your favorite so far? It depends. I think probably... That's a good question. I think probably the video for Welcome to the Future, where I performed a large part of that video on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. That felt pretty... And also sang a lot of that driving through Times Square on the top of a double-decker bus. And then some of that was filmed in Japan. And we got footage of some amazing things, like guy with a prosthetic leg, a runner that first got his prosthetic leg and took off running, and the video that you see of him running with that leg are his first steps with it. That one's still my favorite, I think. Are you making all the recent leaked comments and videos yourself? Yes, I am. I have help, but they're all me. I mean, it's me and a couple of people that work with me. It's all me, though, in the sense that it is not a plan that's in place from a record label of any kind. It's essentially a really fun thing I've done on my own, and probably a great risk to my career, but I've been at this too long to do it the same old way again. Nava from Grantsville, Utah. What type of barbecue would you cook for everyone to eat if we had you over for a cookout? Pork. Pulled pork. Liam from Dublin. Who would be in your fantasy backing band? Oh, man. John Bonham. Paul McCartney. Eric Clapton. Nathan East. Nancy from Lockport. How have you stayed so grounded in such a non-grounded industry? Who says I'm grounded? I don't know. I don't know if I'm grounded, but I think I am. If I am, it's because I don't I don't buy into certain things. I just don't buy into the hype, and I really have a good group of friends around me that keep me normal. Alexander from France. If you had to write a joke song about Billy Currington, what would it be called? Put your shirt back on, Billy. Mike from Boston. What song that you've done best describes your childhood life? Childhood life. Riverbank. I grew up on the Ohio River, and that's how I spent my time. Tara from Kerrville. What does it mean to you to know that your fans have gone so far as to have your lyrics tattooed on them? It makes me wish that I'd taken more time on the lyrics to make sure they were right. Krista from Orangevale. How do you balance writing and singing songs that speak to traditional country music fans as well as the newer, younger fans? I don't know. I just do what I do, and hopefully they both like them. Eric from Vancouver. How would you describe your lead guitar style if someone wants to learn more styles of guitar playing? Boy, I don't know. Some combination of jazz and rock with traditional twangy country stuff. And a lot of hammers-ons and a lot of fast notes. Good luck figuring that out. I don't know what I do at all. Cynthia from Birchwood, will you ever have more skits like Cornography or Spaghetti Western on your albums again? I don't know. Good question. We don't have one on this one, so maybe next time. Megan from Lake Jackson, what is your favorite song that you've ever recorded? He Didn't Have to Be, I think. From the first album. Kimberly from Rockwall, besides the fake arrest, what's the worst or best prank ever played on you and by whom? That fake arrest was good. Lone Star put minnows in my water, drinking water, on stage one year. That was good. Hard to beat that. Drank from it for a while before I saw a fish looking at me. Marilyn from Romo Land, California. What is the fastest amount of time you wrote a song? Which song was it? Maybe Shattered Glass. I think I wrote that in about 20 minutes. And the next thing you know, I had it. Robin from Santa Barbara. Next tour wishes. Anyone you really want to headline with are open for you. Next tour, I'm excited about the prospect of who could be opening, but I don't want to say it because it's really cool, and I know it's probably going to happen, but I know we're not allowed to announce it yet. I want to do more shows with Darius, though, for sure, at some point. Daria from Corona, what made you come up with the idea to leak your own album? I wanted to present this one my way. I didn't want anybody else to get it first. I don't want to be at the mercy of however you might find out about a song, or I wanted to be the one who says, here it is, if you want to hear it, it's online. And then it's up to people to buy it or not, but I can't control that. All I can control is, hey, I'm the first one to let you hear this. And that is in the spirit of Moonshine in the Trunk, which is, I'm doing it against the wishes of the powers that be, but at all costs I will deliver this to you, and then you can decide if it's something you want. Do your kids know you're famous? Says Anne-Marie from Wilmington. They know. I try not to tell them that, but they know. Karen from Mason, do you have an awesome t-shirt collection? I do. I have more t-shirts than probably anybody you know. What's your favorite t-shirt? My favorite one is probably, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite t-shirt is. I like superhero t-shirts, though. A really good Captain America t-shirt is hard to beat. Tom from the United Kingdom, do you still love to fish and spend time on the lake? I do, but I don't get to do that as much as I'd like to. Sydney from Georgia, how do you feel about the new album that's coming out? Just go look at Twitter, you'll figure that out. Rhonda from Fresno, California, what is the one thing you regret? I think I regret not getting to say goodbye to Buck Owens. That would have been great, but nobody knew. Allison from Upland, what do you miss the most from your life before fame? I don't miss much of that because this is better. Leah from Phoenix, when did you first start learning guitar? When I was 8 years old. Derek from Knoxville, who was the singer guitarist you looked up to the most growing up? Probably Steve Warner. Frida from Oxford, Michigan, do you have any rituals you must do before you perform? I brush my teeth. Mandy from Victoria, what is your favorite thing about going on the road? All of the friendships that we have out there, they're just the best. Mark from Lawton, what's your favorite song to perform live? Probably, right now it's probably Moonshine in the Trunk. Mark from Lawton, do your little boys love country music? And if so, who's their favorite artist besides you? Favorite artist, probably Carrie Underwood. And yes, they do. That's the last one. Well, thanks a lot for submitting your questions to me. I enjoyed it. Thanks again to Cody for letting me do this. Hope you learned something today. Probably not here, but hopefully somewhere in the course of your day you learned something.